welcome to this year IOM Summit. I'm sorry to interrupt this nice chat that you had. Probably this is, yeah, I hope the content will be interesting, but this is the best, I think, part of any conversation, building relationships. And today I will talk about relationships. I will talk about human beings. So a couple of words about me very briefly. My name is Emanuele Quintarelli. I spent the last 10 years into this social business, enterprise to social CRM, whatever you want to call it, space. But most of all, I've been lucky enough to help some international and global organizations not just becoming more efficient, but also becoming more collaborative and more human. Today, in the next 20 minutes, I will share a few challenges that our organizations are facing, but also a few inspiring stories and trends that maybe can help us and help our organization to design the future instead of being impacted by the future. So let's get started. Woody Allen was saying, God is dead, Marx is dead, and I'm not feeling good either. Actually, if our organizations could talk, I imagine they would say exactly the same thing. We are in the middle of a crisis. We are still in the middle of a crisis. Bankruptcies, layoffs, lower consumption. In the middle of a crisis, it is even too easy to focus on the short term, while maybe losing sight of the bigger picture. This crisis may be hiding some deeper and even more worrying trends, historical trends that are not cyclical. So let me start from some numbers. This study has been published by John Hagel, Center of the Age of Deloitte, our competitors, but John is so great that we have to cite him. This is called the Shift Index. The study has been conducted for many years, and this picture really captures the core of it. This is a study of the entire US economy across the last 40 years. The first line on top is competitive intensity. Competitive intensity has more than doubled in the last 40 years, thanks to technology. The second line is labor productivity, so the efficiency of labor. It has been doubling as well. The third one is the topple rate, the fluidity of the market, the frequency with which leaders are losing their position under the attack of competitors. The interesting line, though, is the fourth one, the return on assets, the value generated by organizations for shareholders. It has not grown, it fell 75%. So in a sense, our organizations are destroying value, are not adding value, are not generating value. The only exception to these are young talent that is getting higher and higher salaries. But for organizations, this is not a good investment anymore. The second trend coming from InnoSight shows the life expectancy of the Standard & Poor's 500s. Our organizations are dying faster and faster. In 1958, it was 61 years. In 1980, it was 35 years. Today is 18 years. At this pace, by 2027, 75% of the Standard & Poor's will just be gone, disappeared. The biggest organizations in the world disappearing. Why? Because they are not able to creatively disrupt themselves, to reinvent themselves from within. And yeah, it's easy to say, reinvent yourself, but just try doing that if you are a 100 years old organization. Third trend, until now, in the past, the job has been coming from large traditional organizations. The big bank, the big telco, the government institution. This trend is gone as well. In the last 2 decades, actually, the number of net new jobs created by organizations older than 1 year has been negative. So in other words, more jobs have been lost than created. Again, the only exception to these are startups, especially in ICT and high tech. Startups are virtually responsible for all new jobs created, but also responsible for protecting those jobs for the first 5 years. So the place you go to get a job, again, is different. And what about those that have a job? They're not doing well either. If you look at this study from Gallup, again, every year it is repeated, you will see that the employees that are engaged are only 13% of the global workforce, while 24% are actively disengaged. That means that they are actively trying to sabotage the organization, its results, their peers. Or, again, with other words, it means that 9 out of 10 employees in any organization around the world are not bringing their talent, their passion, their energy, their innovative potential to the workplace. This means lots and lots of money, as we'll see. Last but not least, your competitors are doing a different job. The venture capitalists I was just reading today from Jeremiah O. Young have been flooding the market with $125 billion on the collaborative economy. We started sharing files, ideas. Now we are sharing jobs, we are sharing houses, we are sharing cars, we are sharing tools. And Uber is disrupting the public transportation, but they are not into transportation. They're into logistics and lifestyle. Airbnb is doing the same without owning any house, 10 billion. If you take Fiat, you know, the Italian automaker, it's valued at 12 billion. So if you want, Uber it seems to be much bigger than Fiat. Amazing. Your competitor may be called Google, Dropbox, Facebook, and probably these are not the companies you have on your competitive chart. So if we take all these trends together, well, they don't seem like a crisis. They seem like a different planet. I don't know if you've ever seen Avatar. They look like Pandora. And you better run fast in Pandora if you want to survive. So my first point is that if you want to survive, you have to act now. You have to act today. You have to build new capabilities, and you have to build a new role on the market. Otherwise, the monster will just run after you and eat you. So if we want to position ourselves in a different way, I believe there are 4 main challenges that we have to face. The first one is knowledge. The second one is efficiency. The third one is innovation, and the last one is engagement. Knowledge. We have spent the last decades automating processes. Great. But we are not good at managing knowledge. It's estimated that 50% of our employees are knowledge workers. These people are expensive, 55 to 75% more expensive than people associated to production or transactions. And yet, there is still a 900% gap in knowledge-intensive sectors between leaders and laggards. So we have not optimized for knowledge. And the signs of that are quite clear. 50% of collaborative work is duplicated, wasted. Half of employees are not able to find a document in the internet, and probably this is something you can relate to. And then you go on Google and you find the document among billions of documents. How is that possible? We spent 1/4 of our week finding information, transforming information, or recreating information because we cannot find it. That means $6 million every 1,000 employees every year. Lots and lots of money. The second trend is about efficiency under exponential change. When you talk about efficiency, large organizations think a process. A process is a way to anticipate a need and allocate the resources. Or, as Clay Shirky, the author or It Comes Everybody, will say, a process is an embedded action to a prior stupidity. So you learn by doing mistakes. But that's true because 95% of IT investments are going to processes, while everybody of us is living into the exceptions to those processes. I bet you're getting 200 emails a day. You're doing 10 meetings a day. You're doing 15 conference calls days. Those are the exceptions to the process. Something that doesn't fit into the form, fill the form, fill the form, click next. So the solution is not adding processes. The solution is designing different organizations that are meant for constant change, that are meant for uncertainty, that are meant for non-linearity. Processes, unfortunately, are linear. The third trend, the third challenge is innovation. Just ask any CEO, what's your top priority? Yeah, I want to innovate. Of course. You can innovate the product, the channel, the customer experience. Yeah, you name it. But just go back to the office and ask your employees, can you please come up with 5 disruptive ideas today? Innovation is not something you can plan. It's not something you can demand. But you can build the environment. You can build the conditions for contamination, for curiosity, for invention, for failure. You can push the decisional power down to the ranks, to the people that interact with the customer, that can sense the environment and build the solutions for you. That means innovation, but that means also engagement. And engagement is my last point. Engaging employees is not about being good. It's about being smart. And you can see the numbers. It's about the margin. It's about the growth. It's clear that having an engaged workforce means money, lots of money. The thing is that organizations believe that employees are getting into the workplace disengaged. Instead, disengagement is a symptom of bad leadership and bad management. It's because your boss doesn't care. It's because you are not challenged. It's because the company is not innovating. It's because the company is not trusting customers. Those are the factors of disengagement. And those factors are in the hands of organizations, not employees. So if we take all this together, we are moving from the left side to the right side. We are moving from a stable environment to a chaotic environment. And that means that we need different organizations. We need a social enterprise meant not just as the technology, but as a different concept of organization that recognizes change and thrives on change by bringing communities back at the center of the business. The goal is no longer efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. The goal is resilience, is flexibility, is engagement, is innovation. Very different kind of companies. Is this possible? Yes. We have plenty of examples. Let me just show you 3 examples, but the list is very long. Different sectors, different sides. The first one is Valve. Valve is an amazing company. They're doing video games. And the thing in Valve is that you can choose by your feet, literally. Desks have wheels. You can bring your desk and join the team and join the project you want to be into. There is no boss. There is nobody telling you what to do. It's you deciding what you want to do. And you are evaluated by your peers. And the leaders are not leaders, are servant leaders. It means they are there to solve issues for their team instead of guiding the team or judging the team. And that's why hiring is the single most effective task. You need to hire people not just for expertise. You need to hire people for the cultural fit. You need people that want to thrive in a chaotic environment, that want to be self-starters, self-motivators. So different kind of people for the benefit at the end of the customer, because it's the customer paying the bills for you. The second company I want to talk about is giffgaff, a UK mobile virtual network operator. The good thing is that giffgaff has a few employees and millions of customers. Just imagine Vodafone with 50 employees. How is that possible? Because they have a community. The community came before the company. The community is the customer service. The community is product development. The community is marketing. If you have an issue, you go in a forum, you post, and after 3 minutes, you have the solution. They put together 1 million answers. If you want to come up with a new product, you can do that, and you get paid for doing that. You can use word of mouth and share that product with other customers and getting kudos. Kudos can be translated into money or given to charities. So if you want This is a community even more than a company, and yet the Net Promoter Score, so a measure of the willingness of customers to recommend, is 73, not that far from Google and Apple. And GiveGaff won the prize as the best MVNO in 2012. Yeah, you would say these are small companies. Even if you look at Zappos, Alacrity, it's for small companies. Take this one. A supermarket. Yeah, not really that cool. 30,000 people, quite big, 6 billion of revenues. Yeah, All Food Markets is an example of a company that is run around a purpose. They are not there to sell food. They are there to fight food chain industrialization through green food, sustainable food, and a sense of belonging that goes well beyond getting your salary. But the second point is that any shop, any point of sale is a pod, is a profit center. They can decide the product, the pricing, the marketing, who to hire. And with freedom comes accountability. You can hire, but if you got it wrong, you will get a salary cut at the end of the month because the person you hired is not performing. Third, everything is transparent. Salaries are transparent, performances are transparent. Creating a gamification system, a real gamification system where you can compare your performance with the other shop and see what is working and what is not. And finally, employees get 93% of the stock options. So employees are owners, are not just passive entities being the workplace. Actually, these are only a few of the examples. I don't know if you have read Frederic Laloux, Reinventing Organizations. There are many more, Favi, Morningstar, Bartzorg, or Future of Management for Gary Hamel. So these are only a few examples. What we can learn from these examples? The first point is that today, when we talk about social collaboration, about the digital workplace, about social business, we are going through a very long journey. The first step, in my experience, this is most of the market yet, it's deploy and pray. Just bring the technology and, yeah, hope for the best. But hope is not a strategy. And you're not getting any result. I've seen so many companies calling us, can you give us the benefits we got? For doing what? Which are the goals for which you introduce the technology? Most companies don't know why they have SharePoint or Jive or other tools. They just deploy it. Who cares about deploying it? I don't know. The second point is focus collaboration. You just try to understand which business goal you are achieving through collaboration. That's a bit less, 30%. The next step, only 20%, is the connected organization, not using it in some pilots, but using it enterprise-wide. But even if you get to the connected organization, you are still at the beginning. There is a paradigm shift between where we are now and the human-centric organization, the organization where you have a purpose, where the teams are independent entities, where there is no boss, where there is total transparency, where you have peer-to-peer evaluation, where you are an owner, where you use gamification, where communities are used to make the business, not just an afterthought. Yeah, let's launch a community because our CEO told us so, because our CEO is happy with the Yammer. So this is the end point to me. The second lesson that it's now clear is that you cannot pretend to be social outside if you are not social inside. It's even too easy to open up a Facebook channel, a LinkedIn channel, a Twitter channel, if you want to keep up with the expectations of your customers. Those are paying the bills. You have to change your internal processes. You have to change your culture. Bjorn was talking about culture. You have to change your mindset. And unfortunately, it takes much longer than opening a channel. This study from IDC, this is quite new, it's July 2015, shows how most consulting projects this year, but also in the next few years, will be around digital for internal operations, reducing cost, increasing operational efficiency. So if you want, those are around the basics. Those are around changing the organization to make it fit for the new world. And this is my last slide. I think the big lesson is that change is not going to stop. We went beyond the no return point. There is no going back. So your only option is trying to accelerate and keep up with change. The thing is not having specific change management initiatives. You get change once right. Who cares again? The goal is building organizations that are designed for constant change, to being fluid, to being adaptable. And in order to do that, yes, you need human beings. You need to bring back humans at the center of the business, and you have to transform them into your change agents, into the engines of change. I believe this is the biggest challenges that our organizations will have while moving forward in the next few years. Thank you very much.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Please.
So the game is this. So if you're not posing questions, I have always 2 questions, but I always can put my questions aside if you have questions. So
is this what you are seeing? Are you seeing organizations using collaboration mostly for collaboration's sake, or are you finally seeing it for business and people's sake? I've been doing this for 10 years. Let's say I was surprised that it took so long to see business coming into the conversation, but I don't know about you.
Any comments on this? So is this that would add to my question? I wanted to ask you, what do you see? What is the key driver to get this forward? So technology, the human culture, the business.
Oh, the business. Definitely the business. This is the news, I must say. Concrete examples, banking. Banking has been doing this for many years. I have a client that started in 2008. So they had communities in 2007, 2008. After 3-4 years, they realized, wow, there is business. It's not about internal communication. It's not about employee engagement. It's about getting value. It could be reducing costs. It could be building new products. There are a number of goals. But they are asking help to do this, to connect collaboration to the business. And then at that point, you need, yes, to get that kind of value, I need to bring the organization with me. And that brings culture, that brings technology. But the biggest mistake is, I have SharePoint. Now, what do I have to do with it? Yeah, you can do plenty of things, but maybe you don't need SharePoint. Maybe you don't need collaboration. Let's start from your business, your strategy, and let's see if collaboration can help with that.
But what are your recommendations? What should a project lead do that just has SharePoint and is not in the position to ask?
Just forget SharePoint. Let's go back in the room. Use co-design. It means co-designing both with the senior stakeholders, so starting from the business. If you ask the CEO, yeah, what's your goal for this year? Yeah, my goal is getting more revenues. That's the goal. Let's bring this down. I may need to qualified credit. Good. I may need to transform my workforce into a workforce that is doing consulting for clients. Cool. And then let's see how collaboration can help with that by engaging the rest of the workforce. A key point to me is that you cannot impose change. You have to co-design change. And that means using design thinking, using workshops, engaging people, listening to them, and giving them the ownership of change. As a consultant, but even as the CEO, you cannot push people to change. We have seen too much of that change management initiatives. So you have to give them the ownership, and you have to help them to steer collaboration to something that is meaningful to them, the what's in it for me. I want to see the what's in it for me. I don't care about SharePoint. I want to see that I'm going to save 1 hour today. That's what I want. And you have to convince the CEO that thanks to that hour, you will save a few millions a year.
Any more questions? Thank you, Emanuele,
Thank you.
at this point.
you.